The following is a pre-recorded show. Welcome to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers, certified financial planner professional and founder of Akers Financial Group. Now, helping you win in your retirement, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome to Winning in Retirement. I'm your host, Brian Akers, certified financial planner practitioner. I'm president and founder of Akers Financial Group. What we want to do today is talk to Paul Franco. Paul Franco from Akers Financial Group. Welcome, Paul.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Paul has his MBA and he's been working with Akers Financial Group almost 7 years.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's awesome, man. And then you've been working with clients and developing plans for their retirement years. And what I look forward to today is hearing your advice as we talk about a topic that I made up. I'm not letting you take the blame for this one. I made this topic up completely.
Yeah, this one's going to be a lot of fun.
It should be. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So everybody out there, you're driving along and you're listening. Go, all right. So what's Winning in Retirement going to do today? This is as original as we can get. We're going to go with this topic right now. Imagine that you're looking at winter, and winter is something where you got to prepare for winter. You know, like winter is going to come. It's icy, it's cold, things like that. You got to prepare. Now, animals do a lot of preparing for retirement. Not retirement, but for winter. I already threw my whole thing here. Is this? But the idea is that what can we learn from animals on how to prepare for winter? And if winter can be a little bit like retirement. Now, does retirement really have to be winter?
It doesn't have to be, but at the same time, there's so much we can actually learn and look at from how animals treat, how they get prepared for winter that we can really adapt to.
Yeah, and so winter, we don't want you to be depressed that retirement's going to be winter-like. You can have a spring,
summer, right?
Spring, summer, or if you're just a fall, we can call that your retirement. It's fine with us. Mm-hmm. Today's topic is going to be called 6 Tactics to winterproof your portfolio, to really prepare for that future when you're going to need your financial plan to work. And the idea is this, is that animals prepare because they know that winter's coming. So the idea is this, we know that retirement's coming. We need to prepare a lot like animals. So we're going to look at least 3 ways that the animals prepare for winter. We're going to talk about 6 tactics that you can apply. So we're going to really do our best we can here.
Right, and I think our animal lovers who are listening to this are going to really enjoy the show.
And you're going to understand that we love zoos, we love animals, we support every way possible. We're not an animal expert.
No.
So if you hear something today about an animal, this is just things we've read, and help us. You can send emails and teach us more.
Call in and tell us about what we messed up.
That'd be awesome. And of course, you call our office at akersfinancialgroup.com. You go there and give us a call on our phone line, 833-WIN-RETIRE. We made it easy, 833-WIN, WINRETIRE. If you ever want to call us, go ahead and do that. Yep. All right, so the show is called Six Tactics to Winterize Your Portfolio. And we're using the animals' concepts that they use naturally, many cases, to prepare for winter. Now, 3 of the main ways is hibernation, migration, and adaptation. These are going to be the 3 concepts that we're going to talk about throughout the show, and we're going to apply it to financial planning. Actually, that's going to be your job, Paul.
Oh, yeah, and if you're like me, knowing and getting ready to prepare for this show, I had to do a lot of research and trying to get up to speed on just hibernation because my mind said, hibernation, these animals just go to sleep. Yeah. Boy, was I wrong about that.
Yeah, we're going to save that. That's a tease. That was a good tease there about hibernation. I love zoos. I try to figure out my favorite zoo between Zoo Tampa or San Diego Zoo, or I've been to a lot of zoos in my life. Philadelphia Zoo, Baltimore Zoo. There's a lot of great zoos out there. Where you can learn about these things. But the thing is, we need to learn from the animals to apply to our financial life. So no matter what age you are, we want you to win in your retirement years. Winterizing your portfolio is really getting things ready so that you can use that money to retire. So as we talk about things, we're going to try to understand how the animal's advice is our financial advice today. That's sort of it.
That's exactly right.
All right. I think the squirrel's talking first. We're going to talk about squirrels first. So I have squirrels in my woods. Paul, let's start with you trying to explain squirrels and their what they do for us.
Sure. Well, imagine that if we can try to view ourselves like squirrels, which might be difficult, but in the same sort of way that squirrels are getting ready for their winter, they're gathering nuts, their seeds, mushrooms in the fall. They're putting them and stashing them in different spots and secret spots so that they can go and eat them in the cold months. Yeah. and try to stay with us, but it's the idea of that they're doing that because there's a time that's going to come when in those cold months, the food is not as abundant as it was in the fall and then it will be again in the spring later. But it's this idea where taking advantage of your resources now while you're active, so that you're able to be prepared for that winter.
Absolutely. So squirrels, I have a bunch of squirrels in my woods. So what they end up doing is sometimes they're shaking the trees, getting the nuts to fall quicker. Right. And then all of a sudden they're digging little holes and putting things in every little nook and cranny. They're everywhere. And the amazing thing is that in the winter, you don't really notice the squirrels. So if it's a warmer day, then they go out and find a snack, or something that they've saved for later.
Yep.
So the idea is this, save for later. So the squirrel saved this food for later. What are you saving for later? So the number one tactic is this: learn how to save, how to invest for your future. Bury that nut, bury that. You said they eat mushrooms. I don't know if I've seen that one, but nuts and seeds, not bury them, because burying, we don't get any growth out of that, do we?
Correct, right. So that's the next step, right? Is then can we take it one next layer? A squirrel just kind of stores it and it doesn't really grow. Yeah. But if we try to adapt it to our situations, what can we do to be growing that portfolio of nuts per se?
Absolutely. Well, we do like dollar bills or euros or something else besides.
Ideally, right?
Besides living off the nuts completely. But imagine this: so a squirrel has things in a lot of places. So he's diversifying, or he or she is diversifying the nuts throughout the woods, everywhere they can hide things for. Now, but the hard part there is they're basically burying them for later, and they're going to get that one piece back up, and then they'll eat that, and they'll have a meal for that day. So the idea is this: as you're building and diversifying and growing and saving, we're going to actually recommend that you make sure you set some money aside and you let it grow and become something very, very important for you down the road. Now, woods and the environment love squirrels because they plant seeds, basically. And they're actually planting the seeds, and the ones they don't go back to and eat can turn into the next tree in your woods.
See, thank you for teaching me that, because I would have never realized that.
That's a wonderful thing. Like one year we went to Sequoia National Park out in California, and they're showing their really small seeds, and there's like, this seed doesn't really open up to start growing unless there's a forest fire. So a forest fire actually will burn, and they'll cause that seed to open up, and then to actually, I forgot the word, but the seed would then start to grow the great sequoia trees.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an incredible place to visit. But the idea is that nature shows us many, many wonderful things. It has obviously intelligent, incredible design for it there. Absolutely. And so the idea here is this: what is your intelligent financial design? What is that design that you have for your financial plan? Be squirrel-like at least. Let's squirrel some money away. Squirrel doesn't mean it's not a mean thing. It's a good thing, right?
No, I agree. There's a lot of puns I could
sometimes
bore people with,
like
right
squirrels
now.
Are like hoarders. they say squirrels are hoarders, but I don't consider a hoarder and a saver being the same.
Right. It's the big thing to take away is that just initial concept of saving and investing that for your future.
Absolutely.
And then taking it that next step on our end and saying, well, what should we be doing? And yes, we need to keep some money in savings that's not going to earn much interest.
Right.
But then with the next layer on top of that, what are we setting aside for whatever those goals may be? Retirement being one of those, and that being ultimately a main goal. And that helps govern how we should be investing that. So from a squirrel standpoint, the nuts grow as they add more to it. And that's what happens in our situations as well. But what can we do that we can try to compound interest and grow our dollar bills as well?
Yeah, so I was actually meeting with a couple for the first time. It was a younger couple. They're in their early 30s, I guess. And we're just talking about habits to have and how about saving money right now can multiply this money into $1 million just by saving something right now. And the math of compounding, if you double things every 6-7 years by having it invested in stocks, you can do really, really well. And I was trying to explain how I'm not a big fan of target date funds for my younger clients because I want them in the aggressive funds for the long term, buying the market up and down and buying and buying and buying and looking for that 10 to 12% growth rate inside of their 401ks, TSPs, things like that, to try to make that money grow to reach the goals we need, which is to be a millionaire 401k holder.
Right. I couldn't agree more. And I've had situations where I meet with clients or people who are just starting to come in and we're getting to know each other, where we've been saving to our 401k, our 457, 403b through work, but we're adding it to a stable value fund. We're not investing it at all.
Make that money work. Don't just bury it in bury a hole in the yard like the squirrels do, right?
Right. And it's so hard just to show you what could have been, but at the same time, now what can we do now to help us better ourselves for the future?
Absolutely. So what we're learning from the squirrels is this. The first tactic to understand is this. Learn to save. Invest for your future. Yes, squirrel your money away.
Yes.
And then number 2 tactic is this. Diversify your holdings. The squirrel doesn't put all the things in one hole and then somebody steal it. They diversify all throughout the woods and put it in every nook and cranny they can find. Take some up to its nest up in the tree. Diversify. Diversification works. I know the markets have been incredible and they really help technology stocks growing, but the rest of them that might not grow as fast. But diversification makes that money be there when you need it most in your future.
Exactly. Yep, I agree.
So today's topic is 6 tactics to winterproof your portfolio. So the concept is this. Animals realize that winter's coming and they need to prepare. And what are you doing for the concept of winter? Imagine retirement instead of the word winter. Retirement. Are you preparing for that? Do you work each and every day like the animals do to prepare for what's coming? Because they know it's coming. And guess what? We know retirement's coming. And we also know there's not a lot of help anymore.
Correct. Right. So ultimately, we are the ones who are saving to our retirement. Social Security is going to look different depending how young you are.
Yep.
That's the reality of it. Pensions are going away outside of a handful of private and also government pensions. So we are the ones doing our own saving. We are self-funding and doing as much as we can to self-fund our retirement. That's ultimately what we need to be doing, and then making sure we're doing all the right things so that we can hit that goal. If it's 60, if it's 65, whatever it is, the decisions we make now will impact that.
Absolutely. So this show today is going to be a way of helping you prepare for that future. You need to do that. At Akers Financial Group, we're local. We're independent. We don't report to a big company on Wall Street. We report to you. We do have offices in Lutherville and Forest Hill, clients all around the Mid-Atlantic region and all around the country, even a few around the world. It's so easy to begin winning in retirement. Just give us a call and schedule your meeting with one of our team of advisors by calling 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WINRETIRE. We'll give you a call on Monday to schedule your free in-person or Zoom meeting. Go to AkersFinancialGroup.com or call us at 833-946-7384 to start planning for your retirement now. How much weight does a grizzly bear gain before winter? We will answer in a moment.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Good morning, afternoon, whenever you're listening to this, we say hello. Welcome to our radio podcast. I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group, and here with me today is financial advisor Paul Franco. Good morning, Paul.
Hey, good morning, Brian.
All right, you're awake after the first quarter, ready for the second?
Yeah, that was a lot of new information, and it is a lot of fun to talk about. But yes, I sure am. Now, in the 30 years plus that you've been doing this, Brian, how many times have you been able to do shows about animals?
I have not been able to do my shows about animals. I've always wanted to. Recently, I've been using the concept when the market's down, it's a hole, like you're in a prairie dog, and you can't wait for the market pops back up and you pop your head up like a prairie dog does.
Yep.
So I've used prairie dog in private presentations, and I use my cash cows my whole career.
Absolutely.
So I've had animal influences, but today we're bringing the animal influence into how they prepare for winter as an example of what we need to do to prepare for retirement. Now, we're not trying to make you depressed about winter being retirement and being the stop years. Winter comes around every year, but winter and retirement, or if you just equate the word to retirement, you can have a spring retirement, you can have a summer retirement, you can enjoy it any way you want, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, just think about it from the standpoint of where your winter being retirement, in that, we're in our active years, we're working, saving, and building up. If we're using the animal analogy, nuts or whatever types of food each animal is saving, ultimately you will hit that point where you're not working anymore. And yes, it's going to be, it doesn't have to be winter. It can be spring, summer, fall, but try to stay with it where, winter is that time frame. We're no longer working anymore.
Yeah. So 3 ways that animals prepare for winter are hibernation, migration, and adaptation. And so the second quarter here, we're leading in this big question. I know everyone has stayed on and listening for the answer to our big question. So I'm going to give you the question, Paul.
Okay.
How much weight does a grizzly bear gain before winter?
Yeah. So based off of articles that we've read,
we love the Discovery websites.
We sure do. Nat Geo, all of that.
A lot of information there.
Believe it or not, grizzly bears can gain up to 100 pounds getting ready for winter.
Yeah, 100 pounds. So that's a good amount of weight there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think the article is also saying about 3 pounds a day.
3 pounds a day.
And the thing I liked most, what they said is a grizzly bear can gain 5 inches of fat to live off of it. In
I got a lot of bad jokes about that for me, but
yeah, we're not going to go there today. We don't have time for that because we're trying to apply these ideas to what we do in the future. So imagine that a grizzly bear knows that winter's coming, knows that retirement's coming, knows that that's in the future, and a grizzly bear does hibernate. Do you know the definition of hibernation at all?
Yeah, well, if anybody listening to this is like me, I figured it was just a period of sleep that these animals would go through, which is not the case. Hibernation, it's truly a remarkable this idea where animals are able to adjust their psychological functions and basically bring them down to minimal or zero for elongated periods of time.
Yeah, it's amazing when you look at the whole combination of what hibernation means. There's a word called torpor that we'll talk about later. Torpor is a new word for me. I learned today. I thought that was pretty cool. We'll talk about that later. Not going to talk it right now. But hibernation for the grizzly bear is some sleep for a while. So they have to add up all this weight so that they can basically stay asleep and live off of that for a long time.
Right. And this is just a fun fact. Do you know what the longest or which animal can hibernate for the longest time frame is, Brian?
I really don't know. I was going to guess polar bear, but
no, it's an edible dormouse.
Edible? What the word?
Edible. No, okay. So listen to this, right? Okay. So edible dormouse. It's a rodent.
Yeah.
It will hibernate for up to over 11 months of the year. So 1 month of activity where it's basically fattening itself so that it can prepare for this 11-month hibernation. Now, to take it one more step, the Romans back long ways ago, they would treat these rodents and they would eat them when they were their fattest.
Yeah.
And they would treat that as like fine dining, as a delicacy. And that was just unbelievable to read.
I thought you're describing a teenager that sleeps for 11 months and is only awake one. I'm sorry. All right, that's another thing I learned today. Now, the idea is that hibernation is knowing that whatever you saved or built up, like the grizzly bear building up fat, is what you have to live off of during the winter. So imagine that's an example of preparing for retirement planning. The idea is this: winter's coming, prepare for it. To not prepare is wrong. You're going to starve to death, basically.
Correct. Right. Imagine if we're not preparing the level that we should be, then come winter, come retirement, we're not going to have enough to be able to live off of.
All right, so I get to say this one. I'm not going to let you answer this question. The thing we learned from the grizzly bear is this: you got to max out.
That's right.
You got to build up the weight. You got to pound it. You got to get protein, whatever you got to do to gain the weight, right?
That's right. Yep.
So we're not recommending gaining weight before retirement. We're recommending gaining assets, gaining retirement plan money, putting money away. And one of the best ways is to put that money away by maxing out your retirement savings for as long as you possibly can. If you want to be a 401k millionaire, you got to start early, young, and put that money away.
Correct, right? Maxing out your 401k in 2024, doing $23,000 if you're under the age of 50, or $30,500 over the age of 50. Yeah. Maximizing Roth IRA for self-employed and small business owners, SEP IRA, Simple IRA, Solo 401k. There's so many different designs that we can help with, but max them out because it helps you get closer to that goal of retirement.
Imagine a grizzly bear waking up every day going, I got to max out today. I got to get my 3 pounds in. And so they just keep going all day and they don't quit until So they feel pretty good, I guess, right?
That's right.
Have you ever seen a grizzly bear?
I have not in person, no.
Yeah.
I know you have, right, Brian?
Not in person.
No.
I did get to go to Yellowstone, and I did not see a bear. I can't wait to get back again.
I've seen a black bear. I've not seen
I've been
over in Alaska, but not a grizzly bear.
Yeah, I love seeing any animal in nature, but in zoos and all kinds of things, they're huge. But the grizzly bears, I'm not going to get too far into that, but the idea is this. The grizzly bear teaches us that they know winter's coming, that we need to save money. The hardest part for most Americans, and I'm talking about 80, 90% of Americans, is they don't put this money away. They don't save. Max out. The first thing is this: maximize your match at work. If you're not maximizing the match, change that. Yeah. If they give you 50 cents on the dollar up to 3%, or $1 for dollar up to 3% or 5%, do that and then live off the rest. Go to your HR department if you can't work the computer. Get it done. Call us and we'll teach you how to go on your own 401k at work and how to put your money away.
Absolutely. And that's the first step. And then is there the next step of, can we do more than that? And that's something we have to help and work through in a plan.
Yeah, generally I like doing individual Roth IRAs, especially the younger we are, because individual Roth IRAs, you can actually pull that money back out without any qualified plan restrictions. So if you maximize your match at work, put 3%, 5% in there, 6%, and then you put the next 6,500, right?
7,000 for 24.
Yeah, 7,000 and into there for people under 50, 8,000 if you're over 50, put that in. And then you go back to the 401k and put more money in.
Absolutely.
Then you got to decide, do you pay tax now or later? That's another part of our talk. But max it out. Bulk up, right?
Exactly. Keep adding more and just max it out as much as you can. They limit you to these contributions, but let's try to get as close as we can to those.
Now, the hardest part is this. Imagine that you're a grizzly bear and there's not a lot of food. So imagine, I think that's more of a high income earner. Right. And at your work, you're limited to save $22,500, and you know that's not enough. You're not going to build enough weight. You're not going to gain enough to be able to retire. You got to save more than that. So grizzly bears got to roam, got to have a big area. Well, you got to look into other ways of saving your money. The higher income gets, the lower percentage that you can put away in your retirement plan at work. There's different discrimination where they actually do evaluations of a 401k plan and say, oh, you're highly compensated. You're only allowed to put this much in. They give you your money back, and all of a sudden you got to go do something else. You need to take advantage of other plans and other ways of saving, because if you only put in the $22,500, you'll never be able to match the income you're you're making right now.
Correct. Right. I mean, imagine if just using a 4% withdrawal rate, $2 million is going to be $80,000 roughly a year. If we up that to 5% withdrawal rate, it's $100,000 for a $2 million. That's the reality is that's what people are having to live off of now.
Yeah, it depends on if that's enough or not. And if that's enough, that's great for you. But if it's not enough, then you need to save more, especially if you're live a life at a certain 400 million, whatever the number is. You need to understand taxation and how much to grow this up to, so you have enough to be able to last the whole winter, the whole hibernation period.
Correct. And I know this is unrelated sort of to the animal talk, so you can stop me, Brian, if you want. But the taxation part of it is so critical. And to understand that, yes, we're building 401k balances, we're building IRA balances, whatever it may be. We're building these retirement savings, but understanding taxation. Taxes are likely to go up in the future. The reality is that we need more saved. If we need to pull out, $50,000-$60,000 a year from our investments after tax, if we just use the $70,000, that's if it's $100,000 gross, 30% effective rate, $70,000 after tax. It's not as easy as just being able to pull $70,000 out. It is in a Roth situation, but we need to plan specifically for taxes. Taxes are going up in the future, so planning for that's so important.
Yeah, I was thinking about a grizzly portfolio would have all the money on them, and so it is what it is on the way tax wise. So if you put all your money pre-tax, it is what it is, all going to be taxed on the way out. If you're a squirrel and spread it all out, you might have tax-free and taxable or capital gain, and that might be the best way. We actually think it is.
Absolutely.
So the idea is this: at Akers Financial Group, everything we do is going to be about you, because your retirement is as unique as your financial fingerprint. When you sit down with one of us, we'll start by taking a look at your financial fingerprint. We talk about you and where you are right now. What is your net worth? How do you invest? How much are you earning? Then we talk about what you want your retirement to look like, feel like. That's your retirement fingerprint. Perhaps you've been sold something regardless of whether you needed it or not. Not at Akers Financial Group. With us, your retirement money follows your financial fingerprint. It's a retirement plan based on your unique fingerprint that determines where your money goes. It's not about us. It's about you. So give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE and schedule an in-person or Zoom meeting with one of our team of advisors. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE, 833-946-7384, or visit our website at akersfinancialgroup.com. Scroll down to schedule a meeting section and let us know you'd like to schedule a meeting with one of our team of advisors. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE or go to akersfinancialgroup.com. Will you migrate for your winter? Let's talk about it when we come back.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Indeed. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group. I'm president and founder of Akers Financial Group. And here with me today is Paul Franco, financial planning advisor from Akers Financial Group. Paul Franco has an MBA and has done an incredible job working with our clients and guiding them to prepare and handle their retirement years. And welcome to the second half of the show, Paul.
Thanks, Brian.
You recovered from our grizzly portion of the show?
I think so. This next portion is I've got, we'll see. I got a few comments.
All right. So after halftime, you do got to get going in the third quarter. You got to come out and bring your game plan. So our game plan has been this the whole day: learn from the animals. And we're going to learn some things from the animals. So far, there's three basic ways that animals prepare for winter: hibernation, and migration and adaptation. Right? I can't say all those words. So we covered hibernation last quarter. That was fun for a little while there. We've talked about things and tactics, and today we're covering 6 different tactics to winterproof your portfolio, to prepare for winter with your planning and financial wherewithal that you have. And so what we've learned so far is this. In the first quarter, we learned number 1 is learn to save and invest for your future. Just like the squirrels put things aside for that future. You know the future's coming. You know winter's coming. Second thing was diversify your holding. And the example was the squirrels, where you diversify where you
different locations.
Where you hide the nuts, right? And then the second quarter was all about the grizzly bear and about maxing out your savings, maxing out the bulking up, getting that money put away so that it's there to provide throughout the retirement years. Is very important. Now here we go in the third quarter. The 6 tactics to winterize your portfolio. We're going to learn through the concept of migration. So this is it. Will you migrate for winter? So planning has its own topics, right? Migration is a way to avoid winter. Some people call it snowbirds nowadays, right? But migration is where you go south. Birds do it.
And occasionally, some people go north, but yeah, vast majority go south, right?
I had one the other day. Took a job interview. They live in Minnesota, and they went down to Texas, and it was just so hot. He goes, "We're not moving there." Yeah. It was nothing to do with the job. It was all about the heat. Some people love the cold, so that it's built for the winter.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And animals are built the same way. There are certain animals that love to migrate. Now, Canadian geese is one that comes to my mind right away. You can see them fly into the air region for a while, and they hover. When it's getting cold, they head out of town for a while.
Yeah. I have good friends of mine that are bird watchers. So they travel all over the country just to be able to watch these birds. And it always intrigued me. Now the technology's gotten so incredible that there's apps you can now get on your phone where you just turn it on, let it listen to the chirping, the noises these birds are making, and it'll identify it right away. Wow. It's that's a cool hobby that I know. Also, people getting ready to retire, there's a lot of people that do that, and they actually spend a lot of their retirement years traveling, and that's one piece of it.
I have to admit, I have an app where I take a photo of a bird and it tells me what it is and tells me all about it.
Isn't that unbelievable? It's just technology. When
my kids tease me about getting older, it's like, well, you got bird seed and bird watching and And then I don't really feed the squirrels on purpose, but they do visit a little bit.
Yeah.
But the idea is this. I'm sorry, I'm totally off subject. But the idea is this. We want to winterize our portfolio. Not that winter is a bad thing when it comes to retirement, but the animals know that winter is coming, it's colder, and they need to prepare to survive. We need to prepare for retirement to survive and to thrive throughout those years. So Akers Financial Group, what we do as financial advisors is help you maximize what you're doing and whatever you're doing and however you want to do it. Let's say you're going to be a migrating bird in retirement. What kind of planning do we need to do if someone says, hey, I'm migrating? I'm not going to be sitting up here if I have a choice. I'm going to go somewhere warmer whenever possible.
Right. And that happens so often, Brian. I have so many examples I could tell you, but just even more recently, clients who have been lifelong living in Maryland, their dream and goal is to retire in Tennessee.
Yep.
And that's something that we've built out this plan for and that we're continually working through this plan. But I'll take a step back. The first thing you do is you set the plan. You work with us and we help you set that plan, and we look at taxation. We look at the different taxes that'll be applicable to that state you move down to.
And we'll call that tactic number 4. That's plan, right?
Right, exactly. Yep, absolutely. The importance of planning is so critical.
Yeah, so the word migration, when you're talking to a client, what other words do they call that?
Snowbird would be one of them. So the idea of migrating, let's just use Florida, for example. Working out, how long do you want to live there? Yeah. Do you want to stay there 6 months out of the year? I call it snowbird. I know a lot of people, that's how it's viewed, but,
yeah, when I'm thinking about things like, migration, people never call it that when they're going to move south or go to south, whatever state they're going to move to. The hard part is deciding to stay in Maryland and have a place somewhere else, or to, sell here and move somewhere else, when to do that, how to plan for it. And that is all about planning.
Correct. Right. And that's ultimately what we do is we build out this plan so that when that time comes, and it might be that you're spending 2-3 months out of the year, or it could be 6 months out of the year, or you may be permanently moving to this new location. We've had it planned for. We understand the taxation now of where the location we are now, state of Maryland. We have income tax that we have to pay. If you go down to Florida, Tennessee, you don't have state income tax. So these are different ideas that we work through in the plan.
Now, we're not going to be morbid and say that if you don't migrate, you might not survive. Like a hummingbird has to get out of town because they can't handle winter at all. Now, that might be the way you feel. So physically, you might need to go. But imagine financially. You live in Maryland and you do your budget. And it's like, is it going to be any cheaper to live somewhere else? And can it be cheaper? The hardest part is that if you look at each state has their advantage and their disadvantage depending on what you're going to do, right, and where you're going to live. And understanding like insurance costs in Florida are extremely high. Yep. Property tax values have gone up very, very fast in Florida. And that's a very big part of a budget now. Very tough. Right. You need to be a resident of Florida nowadays to be able to lock in the tax rate so it doesn't keep increasing on you that great. Each state has its advantages. You need to know those as you're trying to figure out, do you migrate or do you, what do you call it when you just go and never come back? And not migrate.
Elope.
you're gone.
Right. I will say, I'll circle back just from, from clients I've talked to recently where I've had so many conversations where I would love to move somewhere else, and I know it would save me money in taxation and save me, but all of my family's still here in Maryland. And so, yes, there's a financial aspect to it, but then there's we're not moving anytime soon, Brian. Our family, our kids, grandkids are here. Right. So we incorporate that into the financial plan.
Deciding how you handle your money can then dictate the taxation in retirement, which will then dictate where you want to live. So imagine that if you decided to make everything tax-free in your future, then taxes won't be part of that decision. That's not a bad idea. I think it'd be great for people to consider that. Maryland has a lot of advantage right now when it comes to retirees that hit 65. Those that have done military service, and basically there's other exclusions on pensions. There is a lot of things that help people with their retirement planning with staying in Maryland.
Right. Yeah. Maryland's become more tax friendly. It's getting there for retirees, but there's still a long way to go.
Added a few more rules, a few more options, and a tax credit for people that make under $150,000 marrying, filing jointly. If you're over 65, retired, all that.
Right.
And that's like 3 more years of that under something that was brought out when Hogan was governor. There's a lot of options here. So imagine that you're thinking about moving in retirement. We recommend that you visit those places, find out everything you can about it, and see if it really does work for you. It's more expensive to migrate and then come right back, especially if you sell here, buy there, sell there, come back.
Right.
That's very hard. I've had some clients need to do that because they weren't as happy as they thought they'd be.
Absolutely. I recommend people to stay there for a few months and get familiar with the area and see if it's something that you want to make permanent.
Yeah, so the tactic here is this: plan ahead, have a budget now and a budget for your retirement. One little trick I've used recently is this: what is your net bring home pay while you're working? What is that number hitting your bank account? Let's make that our retirement budget. If we don't know what our numbers are,
right,
let's at least use that to try to match what you did during your career, because you're sort of used to living off of that. That net bring home pay is after you save, pay health insurance, everything else. Let's see if we can match that for your retirement years. But plan ahead, know your budget, know your need, know your income plan. How are you going to pull that money out? Ready for taxes, planning that out so you're not getting hit with any surprises from IRMA with the Medicare tax.
Special IRMA. Yeah, I would say just keep being able to, we want your lifestyle to stay the same or increase. When in your retirement years, you don't want to have to decrease your lifestyle just to adapt to the situation you're in.
Yeah. You're going to adaptation. That's next quarter, man.
Yeah, I said that, and then I thought, oh wow, I'm jumping ahead a little.
Migrating this quarter.
Migrating a little too fast, maybe. But that's the generally that's the idea, though, is making sure we're planning for our lifestyle to at least remain the same, but the goal would be for it to increase in retirement as well.
We know you want to retire once, retire well, and to be able to keep going in your retirement and enjoy each and every day throughout those years for as long as you have. What's wonderful is this, is when you have a plan, guess what? You can do those things. We believe retirees need to come in and meet with us at least once a year, twice a year, going over what their plans are and what to do with the portfolios and what they're doing to make it work, to implement the planning on an ongoing basis. So if your current advisor is someone that's just, oh, hell, we invested your money 5 years ago, we're just going to leave it there, and we don't need to meet. That's not what we're recommending here. Absolutely. A plan is in motion. You got to keep working.
Correct. And it constantly has to be fine-tuned to help you adapt and get to your goals that you have.
Yeah. So what we want to do here today is understand 6 tactics to winterproof your portfolio. Number 4 is plan ahead. Your budget, your income taxes, your income plan, estate plan, and what kind of insurance should you have throughout those years. Because we know the best part of retirement is going to be getting your time back, where you decide how to use it. Before retirement, your time is tied up with other commitments, mainly your job. A lot of that goes away in retirement. Your time is now consumed by things that you want to do. It's so easy to begin winning in retirement. Go to our website at akersfinancialgroup.com, scroll to the schedule a meeting section, and let us know you'd like to schedule your free consultation with one of our team of advisors. That's akersfinancialgroup.com, or you can call us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. We will call you on Monday to schedule your free in-person or Zoom meeting. Go to akersfinancialgroup.com or call us at 833-946-7384 to start planning for your retirement now. Will you adapt for your winter? We will explain how we will help you do that in a moment.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to Winning in Retirement, a radio podcast put on by Akers Financial Group. I'm the host, Brian Akers. Here with me today hosting is Paul Franco. You ready to go fourth quarter, Paul?
Let's do it, Brian.
All right, Paul is MBA financial advisor for Akers Financial Group, and he's ready to talk about animals. This show, if you missed all the other 3 quarters, you're going to have to listen to this one. You have to go to our website, akersfinancialgroup.com. You'll see radio podcast tab. You tap that and then listen to that show. You can listen anywhere you want. Listen on podcast channels, anywhere.
Yeah, again, we're not not animal experts.
No, not at all. We're pretending to be.
So don't take this as animal advice, but we would love to hear hear anything we missed, or if our facts are all wrong.
We got to learn from animals. So the idea today is 6 tactics to winterproof your portfolio. So how animals prepare for winter gives us these 6 tactics on how to handle our money, how to prepare for our later years. Now, winter sounds tough. Retirement is not tough. Retirement can be called spring, summer, fall, winter. It could be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be the winter of your life. It actually is just the idea of preparing for it.
Right.
So imagine that we've talked about squirrels, grizzly bears, talking about birds. Here we go in the fourth quarter. Let me start with this topic, Paul. It goes like this. Will you adapt for your winter? Now, adaptation is something you just can't wait to talk about, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of adapting to the environment and being able to, one, see all the planning that we've done ahead of time to now get to this goal. And it's a wonderful day when that day comes. And I've got more examples I could give you, but just I have another client who's getting ready to retire next month.
Yep.
And it's all this planning that's been done beforehand. And now it's just everything that we've already planned for. It's just now checking off all the boxes, getting the paperwork sent all in. And it's an exciting time.
Yeah, I remember probably a decade ago, this lady came in and you could just tell she was done. And she's like, Brian, can I retire? And I said, let's go through it. And we went through all the numbers and everything. And she talked about all of her expenses and all the choices. We got it all written out. And it was like, you can absolutely retire. And she's like, what? I thought I had to work 2 more years. I said, well, as long as you live on this, you're good right now. And her went from like the drudgery of working to, hey, I can plan my retirement date. I can be done here in the next few months. And almost like, let's go. Got all excited. It was a very cool thing.
Yeah, I've had that too. It's just it's a situation where you can retire today. You've done the planning. Now let's take it that next step. Mm-hmm. Generally, it's not just setting up systematic withdrawals from your 401k, Brian, right? So imagine now we have to take it that next step and make sure that we have all these different income sources we can draw from. Have income last us a lifetime. Build out a retirement plan that will last you your lifetime.
But you're just getting right into the financial advice. I got to talk about animals first. So
yeah,
adaptation. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to be a little funny. Adaptation, like deer, actually, their fur changes throughout spring and fall and winter. Even some deer change color of their fur.
Really?
Yeah. They lose it. It's heavier coat for winter, right? Moose, which is one of my favorite animals. Moose, they have antlers. They lose their antlers. The coloring changes a little bit throughout different times of year. They adapt to life. It's weird how they hide in the woods certain times of the year. They come out the other times of the year. It's pretty amazing. But adaptation is where you have to live within your means, which animals do. You have to figure out how to live within your means, and you got to keep living within your means.
Correct.
Sounds like a good retirement plan.
Correct. Absolutely. And just being able to stay and live within your means, that is going to get you to the place where you can do whatever you want in your retirement years. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want. We don't want you to have to be worried about where that next dollar is coming from. The market's down. Oh, I can't go get a cup of coffee today. That's not what we planned for. We build out these portfolios so that they weather the ups and downs of the markets. And so that when you retire, your only worry is where you're going to get that cup of coffee, not if you can.
Yeah. So we don't want your retirement to be pure hibernation. Yep. Where you really, really have to just stay inside and not leave at all. We're going to introduce the word torpor that I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
TORPOR. It's a really cool word. A lot of animals don't fully hibernate and sleep all winter. Torpor is a combination where animals actually, mental and physical inactivity, they sort of slow themselves down, dial themselves down. They can actually adjust their body temperature down to maybe 41 degrees or so on certain animals.
Yeah.
And then that helps them live off the food for longer because their body's not trying to heat up and maintain for as long. This is just a really good way of thinking about when we retire, maybe we do slow down. Maybe we do take time and we actually live within budgets a little tighter. We don't spend it as fast. We don't have the expenses of work. So maybe things are a little cheaper when it comes to it.
Right. Yeah. Then this torpor, I liken it to kind of like a sloth, where it's a little like you're a little slower. Like imagine a sloth laying on a branch or whatever it may be. It's just it's like calmness. It's psychologically you're just much slower. You slow down. You're not subject to the everyday speeds of work and.
Yeah, so there's a good thing to this idea.
I agree. Yes.
So the good idea is we want that in retirement. We want to be able to slow down, choose what we want to do, but the only way to do that is if we prepared before.
Right.
Like if you were buzzing through life quickly and then all of a sudden you're getting into your late 50s and you're like, oh, I better start. Now, we have clients like that, and we have to help them get the best we can, help them catch up and get prepared because we know winter's coming. Animals know winter's coming. All of us should realize it, and we need to throw money to our future. Obviously, the math tells us the earlier we start, the less we have to save. That sounds like a discount to retirement. If we start early, you have to save less money.
Right. And it's that concept of how quick can you double your first 1,000 to 2,000, 2,000 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. As it compounds and grows and these balances are now larger, you really do start to see great returns. And, ultimately that's the goal, and is trying to be able to build these plans so that when 60, 65, whatever it is, we know exactly where the income's going to be coming from at that point.
Absolutely. So that brings us to the fifth tactic of winterproofing your portfolio that we learned from animals. So torpor is where they slow down to preserve the money over time. So imagine that if you plan your income and you slow down everything that's going to affect your budget, especially taxes, let's find ways to save money on your taxes, how to save money on your insurance, how to make your budget work for throughout those retirement years. And then we need to have a withdrawal strategy. So number 5 is plan your income and taxes with a proper withdrawal strategy on how you're going to use the money you saved. Don't just start cashing out the 401k quickly. Before you know it, you're going to be at higher tax brackets. It's pretty brutal to see all the taxes you got to pay later.
Absolutely. Yeah. Having a strategy, like I said before, I prefaced it before, but generally just systematic withdrawals from a 401k is not the solution. Having a proper plan, we're going to have, we call it buckets, right, Brian? We're having different buckets and sources of income that we'll be able to draw from, kind of like a faucet, right? You can turn it off and on.
Yeah.
In planning, do we need to supplement income to get us to when to draw Social Security? All these different planning ideas we build out and we plan for.
Right. And that's very, very important. And that leads us to the sixth tactic for winterproofing your portfolio that we need to learn. And that is this. Why not make your money tax-free in retirement? So when you see that bucket, that pile of money that's a Roth or like cash value life insurance, that money properly withdrawn is tax-free. Thus, that means all that money is yours.
Yeah. Generally, one thing I would recommend people look at when they log in and look at their 401k plan, look at if you're doing pre-tax or if you're using Roth.
Yeah.
Likelihood is that your plan allows you to do Roth, which is a way of saving tax-free, where you have to pay the tax at today's rates, but then when you withdraw from it later, it's completely tax-free. Mm-hmm. But just the first step, look at that and see, are you doing pre-tax or are you doing Roth? And then think about, should I be doing Roth or should I be doing pre-tax? And you can always call us and we'll be able to help you make that decision. But generally, the younger you are, as we're getting ready to retire, or getting ready to and laying the groundwork for planning your retirement, we want to be in Roth. We want to have all this money grow tax-free for us so that ultimately when we retire, we've built up the similar type of balance you would have if it was pre-tax, right, but it's all tax-free. And that's a wonderful place to be. Now, one extra layer is your employer match is generally going to be pre-tax. So it's not the entire account is very, very rarely all Roth. So having that balance of pre-tax money that will be taxable in retirement versus tax-free is critical and important.
And the only way things can be tax-free is if you plan it. You have to actually plant the seed, put that away in that style of investment so that it is tax-free when you need it most.
Absolutely. Without
a plan, you're not going to do the pre-tax now and pay tax and never pay tax again. And that's very, very important concept that most everyone needs to learn and needs to learn now. When I think about Roth IRA, I think about younger, then I also think about the higher income you're at. If you're in the highest tax brackets, 35, 37%, and you want to be there the rest of your life, why not do some Roth now at work? You don't qualify for individual Roth IRAs, but you could qualify for something called backdoor IRA, or especially you could qualify at your work for the Roth 401k piece. That's a great way to put money away. And then if you do some after tax, you can get some Roth Advantage that way also. We've covered that in previous shows, so we don't want to go too nuts on this.
Well, it's something we see all the time, though. It's we meet with clients who are in that 32 to 35% tax bracket. They've built up sustainable and solid 401ks, $1 million, $2 million 401k balances that all of it's pre-tax. Yeah. And it's like, well, what can we do now as we're, getting ready? And for somebody we could tell as they're in their younger years, trying to get through building out that tax-free income.
Absolutely. There's a lot of ideas to learn from animals. That's been our goal today, is to teach you through animals on how they handle winter so that we could have 6 tactics to winterproof your portfolio. Those 6 tactics that we've covered today, number 1 was to learn to save and invest for your future like the squirrels do. Diversify your holdings. Squirrels put the seeds everywhere. Number 3 was max out your savings like grizzly bears max out their weight. Number 4, like the birds, when it comes to their migration, you need to make sure you know where you're going, have a planned track for your budget, your needs, your income plan, tax projections, estate planning, and insurance. And then you got to plan your income. Number 5, learning that through adaptation of deer and all kinds of different animals. And of course, number 6, tax-free retirement. We always recommend that because that's really one of our favorite things if you have to break us down. We want to help you win in your retirement years. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much, Paul. We want you to win in your retirement, so take advantage of the opportunity to begin planning with us at Akers Financial Group. To schedule your free meeting with one of our team of advisors, go to our website at akersfinancialgroup.com. Scroll to the schedule a meeting section and let us know you'd like to schedule a free meeting. That's akersfinancialgroup.com, or you can call us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. We'll give you a call on Monday to schedule your free in-person or Zoom meeting with one of our team of advisors. Start planning for your retirement now. Go to akersfinancialgroup.com or call us at 833-946-7384. Thank you for listening. I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group, and we want you to be winning in retirement.
You've been listening to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group. Akers Financial Group offers securities through Archedios Capital, an SIPC and FINRA member firm. Advisory services are provided through Archedios Wealth. Akers Financial Group and Archedios do not share any common ownership. Neither Archedios nor Akers Financial Group provides tax or legal advice. Advice given on winning in retirement is general in nature, and one should seek further advice from their financial advisor, broker, attorney, and or tax accountant before investing. Be sure to read each prospectus carefully to understand all the risks associated with each investment. Examples and scenarios shared are meant to be for illustrative purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.